Good morning. I'm back. I've been away from mixing tutorial videos for quite a while now. I haven't made one in a couple of months, and I feel bad, but I stopped because I kind of ran out of ideas. And today I just decided I'm going to make one because I like making them. I think talking out loud to myself as I mix, I think, is valuable. So if anything, I'm making this video for myself now rather than anyone else to watch, because I enjoy doing it. So on a personal note for me, if you've seen any of my previous videos, I'm out of the challenge. I did 3 challenges. On the third one, I failed out because I could not keep up with the pace of the workouts. We're supposed to do 30 workouts in 42 days. So it's like 5 a week. And what happened was my shoulder started getting strained, my knees, and especially my left heel became strained, and I just could not keep up. My body needed those rest days, and personal stuff happened too, family stuff, that kept me from working out, and my job. Occasionally, someone at my job doesn't show up for their shift to relieve me, and I have to work an extra 4 hours. I don't really have a choice. So all those things meant that I failed out of the third 6-week challenge. But I did lose a total of about 65 pounds, and I've kept it there. I'm hovering right at that same area. I've fluctuated 3 or 4 both ways. So I'm kind of at a plateau. I haven't quite hit 70 pounds. My new goal by the end of the year is 100, so I have 30 pounds to lose in about 6 months. And I can do it. I just have to... First of all, I have to get my heel fixed. I have an appointment for that Monday. So anyway, that's some personal stuff about me. Let's get into the mixing. So today, what I'm doing, I'm working on this song, Westward Shore. And what happened was, at some point, I recorded these backing vocals. Just playing by themselves here. So that's just me. And it sounds good in the mix. I really like it in the mix. I think it adds a whole lot to the mix. So what happened, I've been having issues keeping track of my projects, and this is something that I took a class, an online class through, which one, who was this one through? Udacity, I think, maybe. I'm trying to, it was, okay, so it's definitely Berkeley Online College, but I think it's through Udacity. And it was, Introduction to Music Production or something. And one of the things that the teacher said was, you need to, in the beginning stages of any project, begin to develop a file naming and storing and moving protocol for yourself, because quickly you build up a lot of files. You'll have a lot of project folders, and especially if you're moving between computers, you're going to end up with a big mess. And so this is kind of the result of me not being that careful. I have been careful. I have to give myself credit. I have been very careful. I have the main project on my PC in the recording studio, the mini studio, my man cave studio, I call it, or the micro studio, freaking tiny little garage. So I have my main project folder there, and those are unmixed raw project files. I do rough mixes on those early on just to put them out, because sometimes, the drum levels are all much lower, so I kind of just boost stuff as far as just volume, but I never do effects or anything like that. So that's like the pure unaltered form, and anytime I move it off the PC to bring out to mix on a laptop or my all-in-one, which is what I'm on now, I always do a copy. So I keep a copy of Greenwire's album. Let me show you my file tree system here. No More 0 Days. This is a thing that I put up. What I did was I got tired of playing video games for an hour or 2 every day before work. And that's one of the reasons I stopped making videos too. So I uninstalled the game I play, which is a Blizzard game, Heroes of the Storm. And I did it remotely from my phone while I was in my was waiting for something in my car. I was waiting to do something. Anyway, I typed this note up, no more 0 days. That means I don't want to have any more days where I don't get something done. Okay, so here's my external hard drive. This is a laptop hard drive that I put into an enclosure, and here's 311 greatest hits for reference tracks. This is some drum loops, and that's just for reference again. Here's my mixes when I'm doing a mix. So I have mix in progress, pre-mix. I have everything else here, samples. This is the album master for when the album's finally done. Here, Greenwire album. This is the untouched. Inside these folders, if I open up one of these projects, these are untouched. And I'll show you what one looks like. So compare. So this is telling me you have something missing. That's the drum loop we used initially to record. My guitar player wanted drum loops because they sound natural instead of a click track is just cold and robotic and unnatural. So here, this is actually a non-updated. This is a project without drums. So this is a raw project, and you can see I have done some kind of like some of these. I don't even know what I put on here, but this is missing all the drum tracks. But this is basically what the project looks like raw before I send it out and begin mixing it. And you can tell I haven't even colorized any of the tracks. They're not in folders. I mean, it looks like it's almost fitting that it's kind of black and white because it's like an old-timey picture of the mix. So compare that to this, all colored, all sorts of lanes of automation. I mean, just tons and tons of work done to the mix to try to make it sound better. And it does. It sounds a hell of a lot better than when it's raw. So anyway, what happened with Westward Shore is that I recorded those backup vocals and then I lost them. And what I did, it turns out, what I decided to do was to begin mixing out of this folder on the external drive, because I'd bounce between this computer here in my room and my laptop, which I take to work with me, and when I have downtime at work I can mix on the laptop. And I was just having trouble keeping local copies and then writing them over, and it was just getting to be a mess. So I decided the external hard drive is where the album lives. Now I understand that's an issue because if the drive crashes, all that work is gone. So what I try to do is occasionally I'll just back up the daily mixes to my desktop. Here I have mixes. I'll just try to do that once in a while, and it seems to work okay. It takes a long time to back up, so I have to do it right before I go to sleep. But anyway, what I'm going to do today, let's go back into Reaper here. So let's close this old one out. I found these backup vocals, and I've done a lot of work to Westward Shore between this mix and the one that I have. So in this one I have I think this is the one where I did a ton of. Okay, no, this is not the one. There was a time where for Westward Shore I did all sorts of sample replacement, just almost everything. Well, that's not true. Snare and kick. So the difference between this mix and the one I've been working on the last few days is quite significant. So I'm going to actually just copy. This is sort of an experiment for myself. I want to be able to move just this track and these items to the current mix, which I'm going to open now. So we're going to go to my external drive, daily mixes, mix in progress, Westward Shore. Save unsaved project before closing? No. We don't save an unsaved project, a blank project. Okay. Here it is. So you can see it's missing. I have no backup vocals. So the only way, I'm going to try this a couple different ways. So I hit Control T there. I added a brand new track below the vocal chorus. I'm going to try to just dump the track right in here. I'm not sure how it's going to work as far as having, I'm just going to select the track, and I have the item selected over here. You do your Marquee Selection. You hold down the right click button, and you anything that touches the little marquee, it will select. So I'm selecting those 4 items. I'm also selecting the track, and then I'm going to go up here to my edit. Let's see if Control C works. I bet Control C works. Control C. I'm I'm selecting the brand new track I have. I'm going to hit Control V. Hey, look at that. Alright, so it works fine. Just Control C and Control V. I'm going to get rid of that blank one I put in there. So this looks good. Let me route this through the verb. Probably not going to want to hit it to the FX bus because there's like distortion and stuff on there. Let's listen to how it sounds. Just drop it.
Now the water's over our heads. Right there now as
I hear it. Let me see. Maybe it's because I don't have both of these earbuds in. Could be it.
now the water.
Let's solo it. I think it's just very quiet. That's part of it. Saturation. I do have verb on it. Okay, so I'm going to actually remove this verb because I'm sending it to the verb. And then, okay, this is me EQing. This is probably bad. I'm going to just start fresh on all this and build it into the mix.
Now the water's over our heads. Right there now as
Oh, I see. I have a volume automation here that's has it set to -15. So let's just clear that out. All right, so success. It worked. I'm going to go back to this one, hit save, and close it out. So the next step I'm going to do before I head to work, maybe while I'm getting ready and taking my showers, I'm going to take the complete folder, this daily mixes folder, and I'm just going to dump this on top of my mixes here on the local drive. Just it's a way to back it up, and then that should see if I what I'll end up doing is I'll just probably delete all of this. Let me do that now. Actually, I'm sort of trying to teach myself a lesson here, which is, so I'm going to say June 16th archive. Something I've tried to teach myself is if you delete things, sometimes if you delete stuff, I mean, you can always recover through the recycle bin, but you have to be careful to don't delete. I guess what I want to say is don't delete anything, but that's a little hard line. You can delete stuff, of course, but I'm going to call this backup. So from now on, I'm just going to dump from my local drive. I'm just going to dump this daily mixes, this entire folder, and I'll put it directly into backup on the local drive. And oops, that should work. And then, as I go along, the next time I go to make a backup, I'll change the name of this folder. I'll put a new one called backup, and I'll change the name of this one to the date of that, and I'll call it the archive. And then eventually I could just have an archive folder or whatever. It's a system of keeping track, and it may end up in layers and layers of folder trees and stuff, but at least I won't lose things that I've spent time making. I mean, these backup vocals I could probably recreate in my studio in half an hour. It wouldn't be that much of a loss, but it still sucks to have to start over on something. So anyway, let's get to work on these backup vocals. One of the things I need to do is boost them up. Actually, no, now that never mind. That automation lane is gone. Let's hear it now.
now the water's over our heads. Right there now as we finally arrive. Everything that
Okay, so one of the things, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to give it its own reverb, and that's what I had done by putting it on the track. But the problem is you always want to EQ reverb. That's what I found. You want to EQ out the low end of the reverb. So I don't like the way this is hitting the reverb, so I'm actually going to duplicate this track. I'm going to call this backup vocal. See, backing vocal verb, just like that. Put that up here just so we know it's close to that one, whatever. And let's see here. Let's listen to them together.
now the water's over our heads.
Okay, so let's change the routing on this one because I don't want the the main vocals hitting this. So we're going to get rid of vocal verse, vocal chorus, the second vocal chorus. Okay, so now we're just getting that backup vocal from the final verse. Fina verse, whatever. It's supposed to say final verse. It says Fina verse. I don't care. Here we go. Ooh. All right, so that sounds okay by itself. What I'm going to try... Oh, there's two instances of reverb in here. That is weird. I better check the other vocal. Huh. That is really interesting. So I'm wondering how... I mean, it's got to be doubling the reverb, right? That's got to be like super saturating reverb. Let's hear. That is fascinating.
Ooh. Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined.
Okay, so I'm actually... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go Control Z. I'm going to go backward. And I'm going to turn those two files back on. Edit FX parameter track, remove send track. Okay, right here. This is right before I remove these. So I have two in here. I'd actually like to hear the difference once I remove it, if it is doubled up on the reverb. Because that's what it looks like.
Ooh. Now the water's over our heads.
Okay, let's bring this volume down. Let's unsubtle this.
Now the water over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it.
And I have not edited that final verse, so you're getting a lot of those sibilant S's. I have done it here, so we could actually listen to a different verse. So it doesn't sound so
Then we waded in up to our stomachs. The current tug, we lean the other way.
All right, now, while we're listening to it, I'm going to remove that.
Then we waded in up to our stomachs. The current tug, we lean the other way. We were crossing for our survival. The place we left, we simply could not stay.
I mean, maybe it was mental, but it seemed like it helped. It seemed like it dropped the amount of verb in there. That's good. So I wonder how that was probably affecting my... I'm going to remove both of these. That was probably affecting the vocal mix, making it just super reverby, which in some songs you want, some styles. In fact, I heard something on YouTube the other day, which was really curious. God, what was it? Oh, no, it wasn't on YouTube. It was on NPR Music, which NPR Music, to me, is a collection of the worst music ever made. There's these two like middle-aged guys. I'm sure they're 10 years older than I am, listening to music, and most of the stuff they pick is horrible. And they were listening to some band, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds like My Bloody Valentine or something. Add a double the reverb on the vocals, or double the reverb, and that would be my something." And so I guess some bands, some signature sounds is just extra reverb. Pretty interesting. But I don't want all that extra reverb. So
now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that...
Alright, so now we have backing vocal verb. There's no verb on it. Or no, there is still. I'm going to change this to something like much more ambience. Let's try Auto Park, which I think is probably the heaviest one.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Step into the...
That sounds pretty good.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we...
Okay, it needs some EQ, I think. So I know Re-EQ has a cool preset called Move It to the Back, and so this is something I move to the back. This is something I stress over and over in my videos is go ahead and put a preset on something, but then tweak it to your taste. Don't just leave it there. That's
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined.
I don't know what it is, but this mix sounds terrible through these earbuds. I have to blame the earbuds. I know I should be trying to make the mix sound good on all listening for earbuds, phones in the car and everything, but these earbuds really just, I don't know what it is. They sound super boxy and certain parts of the mix sound okay.
Now the water's over our heads.
Alright, so it's definitely the vocals. So here's something I'm going to try. This is something I've been doing. I'm going to leave this on here for now. My first instinct is to give this more high end. That's probably my first instinct. But that's something like that is probably good. So here's something I've been trying. I'm going to take this, I'm going to listen to this section that sounds boxy to me, and I'm going to try to figure out, is it the vocals that are fighting? I have a feeling it is. I have a feeling the vocals are fighting the rest of the instruments. In fact, I'm going to mute the vocals and let's listen. Okay, it's partly the bass too. So let's actually do this on the bass first. This is something I've been doing just as a kind of an experiment, and now it is sort of a new tool for me. I'm just going to sweep this around. I'm going to see if I can exaggerate the thing that's bubbling. Immediately I can tell that sounds clearer. So the boxiness is probably right about here. 550 hertz. So I'm actually just going to do a cut here. See, maybe I'm not boosting. Yeah, see, I'm going to boost. I'm actually boosting. Which it did, really. You're cutting out some of the low energy. So I'm going to give it a little kick. Okay, that sounds a lot better. Let's add the guitar back in. Guitar sounds like maybe now it's fighting. Oops, did I leave that? Let's see, I had this third EQ on there. Okay, so question now is, do I leave that extreme cut on there? And I'm wondering now, I'll go ahead and leave it for now. I wonder if the guitar might need a boost in that same area. 550. Okay, that sounds to me in my ear, that sounds healthy. And I might give the guitar a little bit more volume. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to what I was saying. It sounds like the vocals are boxy.
Now the water's over our heads.
There's definitely something in the vocals that's just bugging the crap. Oh, I had that up. That's bugging me, that's fighting the mix. So I'm just going to sweep this around on top of the vocals and see if I can exaggerate that.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Step into the water.
And I think I actually might need a little more volume out of that. I'm going to actually put this to 0, which is, I'm sure is going to be way too loud, and then I'll just back it down. But making this extreme boost here at 4K, I think makes everything sound pretty damn good from the vocals. But I'm sure it has to do with these earbuds.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Step into the water. Jump into the river.
Okay, so we know that. I'm going to actually just do the part with the backing vocals.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Step into the water. Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here.
I'm curious to hear this in my car because I'm mixing to these earbuds. Usually I have my cat cans on, the big headphones. Excuse me while I drink some tea. So I'm mixing to these earbuds, and I think when I get in my car, it's going to be a whole different experience. It's probably going to be way too much on the high end. Let me check these EQs that I have on here. See, I do have a boost here at about, right at about 4. Maybe it needs a little more than that. And just maybe I can drag more of the low end out of the verb. Oftentimes I think the reverb, from what I've heard, you want to filter out a lot of your lows in the reverb because it really makes stuff muddy, and that's probably what I'm hearing right now. Let me make sure my backing vocals was EQ'd. So same thing with this. And another thing I can try is, instead of having this boosted at 4K just like the main vocals, I can actually put this up like to 7K, so they have two different profiles.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now since we made it here alive. Now the
something wrong in my low end. Again, it's probably the. I just want to make sure my.
Now the water's over our heads.
I think everything looks okay as far as my. I've got the kick ducking the bass. Let me listen to my drums here. I think maybe I have too much kick, or I'm just. This is something else I've been doing. I've found that I don't really want anything below 40. Not for this style of music. It's not EDM, it's not. I don't think it needs anything that super low.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined. No matter now.
You know, I bet it is. I've been doing this thing where I put this transient controller. Okay, where? No, I don't have it on there. I put this transient controller and I boost the sustain, and that can sometimes. Ooh, what is this? What the heck is this? Wow. Okay, so this could explain some of the weirdness I'm hearing. That, I don't even know what that is. Pre-chorus? Okay, what? So that would be right here.
Step into the water. Jump into the river.
I have no idea why I did this. That was probably an experiment that I forgot to remove, and I have a blank EQ there. That's funny.
Step into the water. Jump into the river. Yeah, we're trying to make it to the other side forevermore.
Back to where we were.
Now the water's over our heads. Frantic.
Alright, was like I have some issues in the low end. It's bugging the crap out of me, but I'm gonna let it go for now because I'm guessing it's the earbud, and I want to hear this in my car. The last mix I had in my car, the low end sounded to me very, very close to being done. I'm gonna listen to just guitar and vocals.
Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we... Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined, no matter now since we made it here alive. Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined, no matter now since we made it here alive.
The guitar's fighting. Maybe it's this verb. Let me check my verb here. Ooh, yeah, I might have an issue with my verb.
Now the water's over our heads, frantic. Now the water's over our heads, frantic.
Okay. So I have a combination of, oh, do I not have my, one of the things I've been doing, what I've been wanting to do is, with the exception of solos, I've been doing this thing where I just put a stereo enhancer on the bus because I have so much trouble, I have so much trouble just keeping my balance from left to right, even because when I recorded these guitar tracks, invariably one was louder than the other. You can tell right here. They're pretty close right there, but they're not. They're not identical. One's a little hotter than the other. I think this top one, which I usually balance left, is hotter. So I think this transient controller, stereo enhancer actually takes care of a lot of that. Okay, so I think right there, part of what I'm hearing is I have an issue with verb in the guitar, so I'm actually going to back this off significantly. That's probably right there.
Finally arrived. Everything that we had imagined, no matter now since we made it here alive. Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined.
Those backup vocals need to come way down.
Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we finally arrive. Now the water's over our heads, frantic now as we finally arrive. Everything that we had imagined, no matter now since we made it here alive. Step into the water, jump into the river.
Sounding pretty good. I'm pretty happy with what I've got now. Let me listen to this. I did something pretty cool with the solo. Alright, so this is crazy. To me, this is crazy. This is something more mixing advanced than I would have liked to have. How do I put this? This, I feel like, was more advanced than my skill currently is. So it's kind of an experiment to push my limits of mixing and the technical part of it. So this is something I learned from the Reaper blog. John Tidy did this, where if you have this button up here set to, where is it? Right here. Here. Envelope points move with media items. So I did 2 empty items here in these, I call them delay 1 and delay 2. And then I just moved, I did like a copy up to here. It was this whole thing. You can't tell now because I turned the automation lanes off for these lower two. But in this automation lane here, I have pan, and it sweeps it left and right. And actually, oh, you know what I realized? 6% left. These do not actually go all the way. This is an issue. So actually what I can do right now is I can try to redo this. So you just hold down Control on top of the automation lane. And actually what I want to do, oops, okay, that's not good. All right, you don't, wherever you're highlighted, then you use this wheel, then it affects the envelope under the wheel. All right, so I'm going to start completely panned right for this one. I think this is what I was hearing when I brought this to my car. The solo sounded so bad because I didn't have this correctly panned. I think the panning was fighting, and what I did was I was drawing the wave all in left, like, so it was kind of like coming to center and going far out left or right, just not good. So now what I've done, this one's panned completely far right, and this one's panned completely far left. Let's listen to it just like that. Solo by itself. Oops. Right there. Okay. So one of my delays, I'm experimenting with two different delays. I saw a video with Chris Lord Alge was mixing a Muse song, M-U-S-E, Muse. And their stuff is pretty freaking amazing. Muse is one of my favorites. I mean, some of their stuff is too poppy for me, but some of it's just heavy enough, and sometimes they're awesome. So I have this delay with reverseness. So it kind of sounds like there's reverse parts. Let's hear it by itself. You can kind of hear them floating around in the back. If I change this, with the wet mix up. There, you can really hear it now. So I kind of wanted that to float in and out of the delay with this one. This one is just delay floaty. Well, this one sounds really... Okay, see, that's what I did too, and I think that's probably a mistake. See how I boosted the low end on this one? That just sounds like garbage, I think. But I wanted them to be sort of counter EQ'd as well, sort of complementary or I didn't mean for it to be dissonant, but I guess it did come out kind of. I'm missing a lot of EQing it that harshly on the high end. I'm missing a lot. So I kind of want these to like play with each other in the stereo field. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold down the shift or the control button here, and I'm actually going to draw, and I'm going to try to go all the way up and all the way down a couple of times through this section. Something like that. And then here I'll try to do the opposite. So actually what I could do is I could do markers. Let's see here. Where it crosses into center, I'm going to put a marker. So this is something, again, experimental, more, I feel like it's, I feel like a professional mixer could do something like this right and make it sound insanely cool. Me, I might get close to making it sound okay. You know, if I had a year to work on this, I could probably get it just right, where it's two different delays and they're like playing off of each other, and it sounds like, I almost want it to sound like, not quite like two solos, but like, I guess, yeah, like two solos, two identical solos, but in two different dimensions or something weird. I mean, conceptually, I don't have the whole idea there, but that's like a basic idea. So I'm going to try to do quite the opposite of this, or like polar opposite of it. Down. So then we come back up by this time. Oh. Alright, so I'm going to go start again with that one. So this is quite, it's real spiky, I guess. And that's what you want. There we go. Okay, and then I could actually edit some of these. And the panning after this point doesn't matter because the solo ends. So there's anything before or after it is pointless because there's nothing there. It's insignificant. All right, so I think that's probably pretty good. Let's hear if that. I'm gonna have to put on my. Delay lengths is probably too long. So this one's at 860. Maybe if I match them. So maybe the 860 is too long. 250 maybe. So I think the reverseness one is like adding extra signal to it. So I think if these are too far off, it actually does sound like two different solos laid on top of each other, which is not exactly what I'm going for. I'm going for the identical solo played by the same person on the same guitar, but in two different dimensions. That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm okay with it. Again, I'd have to really mess around with these. Ooh, tempo sync 0 to disable 30-second notes. So if I do 32 of them, it'll do a whole measure or a whole note, one whole note. That's way too much. That's way too much. Oh, I see. Okay, so that actually adjusted the delay. So as you adjust this tempo sync, it actually drags the delay amount with it. The delay length, that is. Okay. Playback rate. Ooh. Let's try a different playback rate. You know what we could do though? Let's go half. Oh, this is gonna sound too bad. This is gonna sound overdone. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, but I don't think it fits. It's a little too low, too exaggerated. Left to right offset 100%. Maybe I should turn this down. So again, I have to mess with all of these. Actually, what I could do is just put a different kind of delay. Let's see, I have delay floaty, delay lo-fi, delay with chorus with modulated length on a low frequency oscillator, reverseness, stereo bounce, sustain, tempo length, tempo ping pong, tone control, MIDI delay, note on delay, time adjustment delay. Let's try the bottom one. Delay amount, wet mix, dry mix, additional delay amount. Okay, maybe if this reverse. If the other one's just more of a dry delay, maybe this reverseness can be a little more exaggerated. sounding pretty cool. It's hard to hear it going left to right. Yeah, that one doesn't seem anything special. Let's add a different delay. I'm totally just experimenting now, which I've heard I'm supposed to do 10%. 10% of my time should be experimenting. Can't remember where I read that or heard that. Might have been Mixer Man. 0 equals tempo sync. I'm liking that. Some of these don't even reach the whole. They only go to 89. Doesn't go 100% pan, so I'm going to exaggerate them. Just to make sure that at certain points they are panned all the way out. Alright, so to add to my concept of what I'm trying to do, I think this is two different people in two different dimensions, and there's, when he starts playing the guitar solo, there's like a temporary rift in the two dimensions, and they can sort of not see each other physically, but they can sense each other's presence through that rift. And the harder he shreds, the crazier the solo gets, the more the rift deepens. I don't know, just a stupid concept, but I think without a mixing concept, sometimes it's hard to do anything creative if you don't have some kind of basic, idea. Like, imagination comes into play with mixing, I feel. So there's a couple of places here where it is fully panned all the way out. I think where it sounds the coolest. I wonder if there's a way to copy and automation points but then have them flipped. If there was like I'm sure there's a script for it, someone wrote somewhere, but have it go more exaggeratedly panned right here near the end, kind of to mirror this one a little better. Okay. Yeah. I wish there was like shortcut keys to these. Like, maybe I should probably make my own. Alright, so I think that's probably going to be about it for today. I'm going to do a rip of this and listen to it in my car. was messing with was, these are not, actually I'm going to put these 100% wet again, because these are only 50%. Oh, that's what it is. I had the reverseness one 50% wet, and this one 100. Let's listen to that, what that sounds like now. It's probably going to be, I think it's going to be over the top. Experiment. I'm going to put these down to like, let's try them really, really super low, like 12 or 10%, and just see. Yeah, clearly that's not enough. Let's go 35%. I think yesterday when I was doing this, it sounded best with both delays at about 50% wet. And the reason I'm doing this, actually, that Chris Lord Algae mixing, you just get to sit there and watch while he mixes, and he does explain stuff, you know, but he's going very quickly, and he just like shouting the names of stuff out. It's not in depth at all. It's just a quick and dirty, you know, produced with a pro, whatever it's called, produced with a master. And he did this thing with delay where he definitely split it high and low, and had two different types of delay on the high and low, and that's what I was trying for with that EQ. But it really made the one sound awful to have all the low boosted and all the high gone. That's pretty close. I'm going to go up to 60%. 65%. I'm happy with that for now. My only concern now is that it does kind of mess with the volume, I think, as it pans. So that's probably places where it's like not perfectly, where these are out of line, kind of like here example 64%. So this is something I could do. Yeah, you have 40% to the right and 30 or 64% to the left. So again, I wish there was a way to copy all of these, paste them down here, but invert it or something, or just invert. There maybe is, or maybe I need to write a script, learn how to write a script. But that's it for the video today. Thank you for watching. I'll come back shortly with another one. Bye-bye.